Welcome back to your crafty place. We are going to work on a couple of cards today using a couple of pages from the Once Upon a Time paper pad that was from, I think we got it from Michael's, but it's a DCWV card pack. And I don't know, I don't see a date on it, but there's the numbers on it if you are interested in looking it up. If I can find it, I will link it down below as well. And then we are also going to use this die set that I got off of Amazon. It is dragons, and there's the information about it. I have die cut all of the dragons out and colored them all using my Spectrum Noir pens. This one I have already put on a piece of paper that I used a stencil, and I used some purples and some grays, blacks to do some dots on there, and I put 3 of the dragons on there, and these are just using just the Spectrum Noir. They're like this, and I got them off of scrapbook.com when they had them on sale in their package. So I have already colored all of them because I am not a colorist, so I didn't think you needed to necessarily see me do that. This one, like I said, I've already done with the background that I painted, and then the rest of them I think, or not painted, stenciled. And the rest of them we are going to use some of the paper from the Once Upon a Time stack. So I'm going to move the paper pad aside, and I'm going to move the die cuts aside, and then I will show you all of the others. So all of these are different dragons that you get. So you have these 3 here, then you have these 2 that I also added some embossing ink to, and then used an embossing powder. I just stuck the whole die cut down into the embossing powder and embossed it with some Recollections glitter, I think it was. And same way with these guys. Oops, that's the back side. Same way with these, I used the same embossing ink and just a clear embossing powder to go over the top of them. And then these actually go with these dies, because their mouths are open to make it look like they are throwing flames. So there's those 2. Then there are these 3, and again, these 3 I just used the Spectrum Noir. On most of them, all I did was use one pen, tricolor blend. This was the only one where I used multiple colors, and then this one I used a purple and a blue. But I just did the darker end and then did the lighter in there. This one I did all of it in dark and then did the lighter one, and it pulled some of that coloring back. And then this one was the darkest around the cut marks there, and then the lighter around the center. So all of these are all the different die cuts you get in that one die set. So now I'm going to work on gluing them down to make card fronts with them, and then we'll do sentiment strips across the front. The sentiment strips that I'm going to use are going to be ones that I create probably in silhouette, just because I don't have any that might match the theme of fantasy or dragons. So we will work on that. So I am back. You watched me glue them all down. I popped these two up and you watched me do that. It took a little while with all the little pieces, and it could probably stand to use a few more in there. I may go back in and add a few more. These aren't cards that people are probably going to keep forever, so they should be okay, but the rest of them are all just glued directly down. These two are glued directly down. I will add some things on this as well as this one. Again, this was the background that I made using a stencil. These are all pieces of paper from 2 sheets. Yeah, 2 sheets. One had the houses and one had the words from the Once Upon a Time stack. And let me see if I can find the 2 pages that we used here. So these are, you can kind of see the, so, well, maybe there's only 1 page, because this is the page that I used here. So I guess it was only 1 page. So this is the page that I used here from the Once Upon a Time. Okay, so I printed off some sentiments from my Silhouette. I just went into Silhouette. I went into Firefox as the internet or the browser that I use, and from there I typed in sentiments for cards dragon/fantasy, and it came back with some different things that I could use, and so I used some of those, just took those and then typed them into my Silhouette program, used different fonts, and then did an offset around those, and then that I cut the offset off, printed it all off on my printer, and then used the Silhouette to cut it out, and I only cut the offset out. So like this one, I left that part, but most of them I took the inner parts out. Like this one, I think there were spots where it wanted to cut things, and I didn't want that. Some of them are larger than others. There's this one. You can see that it didn't cut perfectly, so I may take a black marker along the top of it. I may not. This one is Face Your Fears, Slay the Dragons Within. And then I went to Creative Fabrica. I have a subscription with them, and typed in dragon eggs and printed off some dragon eggs that I thought maybe I could use as some embellishments on the cards as well. So there's a couple of those. And then the other thing that I did was I took some cardstock and cut it in half on the 11-inch side so that it's 5.5 by 8.5, and then I scored it at the 4 1/4, so an A2 card size. So all of these will fit on here. This one is the larger of all of them, so the offset around the outside edge there is going to be a little bit less on that one than it will be on these guys where we cut it. The black is cut to the 5 1/4 by 4. This one is just an 1/8 of an inch away from the 5.5 and the 4 1/4. So this one, there's less of a frame around it. So I am going to glue them to my card base first, and then we're going to come back in and add our sentiments to them. So, but I wanted you to see what we were doing here, so I will quickly do this and then I will be right back. So I am back. I have glued them all onto their card base. So now I'm going to set them out, and we're going to use the sentiments. And then I also have some foam tape here. This is I think it's the Darice foam tape, I believe. So that's what we are going to use. So I'm going to set all 5 of these out here. So I think I may do some ink distressing around this one. This one is tiny, but it says Fire and Fury, so I think it will go well over here. I may take some of this gold. I use this to create some handles for some little gift card holder purses. So I may take this and see if there's some spots on here where maybe I could cut out a little bit more and put that on here like this. We'll see. I also have another solid piece here if I need it. So sometimes we need fantasy to survive the reality. Let's see. I think I like the color of this one on this one here. So this one is Face Your Fears, Slay the Dragons Within. I think I'll put that one on here. And then this one says, May your spirit soar as high as the dragons of old. Maybe I will ink blend that one. I just think that takes up too much of the dragon. We don't want too much of the dragon, in my opinion, to be covered up. So I'm going to do this one. I'm going to ink blend this one too. Let me move that down a little bit. If there aren't any dragons, nope, goes this way. This goes down here. It simply isn't an adventure worth telling if there aren't any dragons. So I think I'm going to ink that one up too, but then those will work that way. I did, like I said, print off these eggs. I thought maybe I could embellish some of these ones where there wasn't a lot going on. I could embellish them with some more eggs. But if there's enough going on, I don't know that I will. This one was kind of cool. I think it lost some of the detail, but it's got dragon scales going up the side of it, so maybe those on here. I really like these, though. I think I'm going to do those. So I'm going to glue the eggs directly down. And like I said, these are kind of the same way as the sentiments. I just used my silhouette. I went to Create a Fabrica, printed them off with the sentiments, and then used the silhouette to cut them out. The little pieces that come up there, the silhouette, worked really hard to cut them out, but it didn't do perfectly. So I could take my black marker to fill those in or just cut them off completely, but they'll be okay. 5 cards that we made using the die set from Amazon. And again, it's this die set. The Evil Dragons. And let me get out here and show you. So I left these guys together. There's the 2 flames and then the 2 dragons that shoot out the flames. So it's easy to know which ones are. And then I left all of these together when I cut them out too. So I cut everything out on white paper and then colored it in. You could very easily cut it out with colored paper if you wanted to. You wouldn't have to cut it out on white. I have been finding that I like cutting everything out on the white and then coloring it in with my colored markers or colored pencils, or even just doing some ink blending over the top of it. It makes the die cutting so much easier because I'm not having to cut out a million different colors. I'm not having to find all those colors that match with one another. I can just cut it out and go. So here are the 5 cards. The sentiments were made with the silhouette, just using Firefox and Google to find some phrases that maybe would be used with fantasy and dragon. So this again is Face Your Fears, Slay the Dragons Within, Fire and Fury. The gold cardstock is from Hobby Lobby. It is one-sided gold, and it's thick, but not really, really thick. The card bases are, I think, 110 pound. I got it from Joann's, so can't get that anymore. You might be able to at Ollie's, I think, or some of the discount stores. I think they have quite a bit of the old Joann stuff. This one is Stay Legendary. If there aren't any dragons, it simply isn't an adventure worth telling. Actually, I probably should have done that the other way because I realized there's a period there. Sometimes we need fantasy to survive the reality. And then these little dots, they have kind of dried. You can see that they are clear. You can see right through to the little dot down below. But again, they add just a little bit of dimension. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I will link the dies, and if I can find the paper, I will link it down below as well. Until next time, have a good one. Go out there and create something.